He that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto the Lord only, he shall be utterly destroyed.
California pastor Hector Urias Garcia was found dead in a canal just south of the city.
He that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto the Lord only, he shall be utterly destroyed.
New at 10 tonight, a former Fort Smith pastor found dead in his home in Ada, Oklahoma this week. Police say 50-year-old Dave Evans murdered, but they have not identified any suspects or made any arrests.
The fire comes just 2 weeks after the murder of 41-year-old Christopher Smith during a bachelor party at Jake's Pub. This picture shows Smith sitting on the steps of the same church and standing at the pulpit where he served as an assistant pastor.
It still kind of doesn't seem real.
Tonight, a local pastor is dead and his wife is in jail facing murder charges. Gabby Shepard was booked into jail this morning. Detectives say the 26-year-old mother of two admitted she pulled the trigger.
Tonight, members of the Glorious Church of the Lord Jesus Christ are remembering their founder as a caring and compassionate man. Pastor John Bowser's body was found by police yesterday after they say a man told them he had just killed the pastor. That man, 24-year-old Terrence Wright, appeared before a judge today. Officers say that he beat the pastor to death with a hammer yesterday morning.
It's the funeral service for Deaconess Eunice Olawale, murdered in the early hours of the 9th of July while evangelizing.
Welcoming the outcast and marginalized with open arms at Victory Outreach Church. And that's what he was doing when he was killed. Police say 37-year-old Servando Ayala Silva reached out for help. The pastor met with him outside his home Tuesday night to pray, and that's when Silva allegedly stabbed the pastor in the neck.
Tonight, one congregation is wondering what was going on inside their pastor's home that led to a murder-suicide. The medical examiner just released the official cause of death, and Kevin Reese has been talking to the police chief. Kevin.
He took his own life and the lives of his wife and two daughters. Pastor Eugene Cahey and his wife Deanna and their 15-year-old daughter Cameron died in the February 28th fire at their home in Cedar Hill. Another daughter, 17-year-old Darren, died days later at a hospital. Now the Dallas County Medical Examiner has determined the pastor died of a gunshot wound to the head. His death ruled a suicide, and the deaths of his wife and daughters from burns and smoke inhalation ruled homicide.
He that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto the Lord only, he shall be utterly destroyed.
It is a murder mystery. A pastor stabbed to death in her own church.
We've uncovered new details about a mysterious letter and someone questioned more recently in the Anadarko case. The clues are new at 6. A block and a half from the Anadarko Police Department, a memorial stands in place of a church tainted by evil.
They got away with a brutal murder.
I spoke with one member of Starrville Methodist who told me there's only about 15 people who worship here. It's a small church in Smith County that suffered a big loss.
It's horrible.
People stay in Starrville for the peace and quiet.
It's heartbreaking.
That's why it's so hard for Carla Manuel to comprehend what happened at her church Sunday.
The pastor lost his life. My best friend is laying in ICU right now.
The Smith County Sheriff says Starrville Methodist pastor Mark McWilliams entered a bathroom and found 21-year-old Maitrez Woolen hiding in a stall. The sheriff said Woolen was on the lam. The pastor was armed, but Woolen took the pastor's gun and killed him.
A couple months ago is when the three of them first met up.
2 people facing first-degree murder charges in the murder of Ada pastor David Evans. David's wife, Christy Evans, along with accomplice Khalil Square, found responsible.
The three of them, Christy, Khalil, and David, had a sexual relationship. Christy and Khalil also had a separate sexual relationship, just the two of them.
They just shot 3 people.
Was the scene of a Thanksgiving triple homicide.
My wife heard some strange noise. She was like, "What is that noise?" You know, and then it was a gunshot pow.
Mike Brown stepped outside his home to find his friend and neighbor in police custody.
I walked over into the neighbor's yard, and, it was like, is that 2 bodies laying on the ground? Because they had him on the ground, and he was, right there beside the guy I guess he had shot.
One male subject on the ground. He's got 2 gunshots to the stomach.
Police found 36-year-old Andrew Butthorn.
We have 2 females down in the kitchen. Copy 2 on side, no pulse.
Butthorn's 30-year-old girlfriend Candace Kuntz and her mother Jeanette Gaddis shot and killed at the home they all shared.
Got a Chris Gaddis on scene. He's requesting PD.
With Jeanette's husband, Christopher Gaddis, who turned himself in and is charged with their murders.
The deacon here at Grace Lutheran Church confirms that Gaddis was a full-time youth pastor here. He describes him as an excellent man and says he's in disbelief.
This is the church where the shooting happened. We're told it happened during church service. And right now, we haven't seen anyone come in or out of here yet this morning, but police have confirmed that they have questioned that pastor and he has been released. The man who was shot to death is pictured here, Deontay Smith, and his family says this shooting was not self-defense, but part of a much larger dispute.
The pastor was having an affair with my nephew Deontay's wife, and this is the outcome of it all.
Smith's family members tell 7 Action News Deontay and his wife had been having issues for some time. They say the pastor at the City of God ministry was someone Deontay counted on.
He looked at his pastor as a father figure, you know what I'm saying, because he didn't have his.
Family members claim Deontay's wife became pregnant and miscarried the baby, and Deontay found out it wasn't his.
To find out somebody who you call your father, the only dad you know, as your pastor, and to find out he's sleeping with your wife, what would you do?
He pulled him out the car and was hitting him with the pistol after he had shot him.
62-year-old Pastor James Blade had just pulled next to the drive-up window at this Charter One bank on East Warren near Outer Drive when a man opened fire on the passenger side of his pink BMW.
The guy walked up on the passenger side of the car. He shot 5-6 times. Then he went on the driver's side, grabbed the man out, hit him a few times with the pistol, and then reached for his pockets and ran up this street here.
You know who you are and you know what you did. God is going to come for you.
The suspect in the deadly shooting of a pastor in Ohio is expected to be in court tomorrow morning. Officials say Reverend William Schooler's younger brother gunned him down in his own church this morning. He is facing murder charges. People were inside the church when it happened and said the scene was horrific.
We had a gentleman come in and he went to sit down doing prayer, and he sat there for a few minutes, and then after prayer he got up and he went back in our pastor's office, and then I heard 2 shots.
Sylvester Ofori was very subdued and quiet while facing a judge this afternoon. He's accused of murdering his wife Barbara Tommy as she went to work at Navy Federal Credit Union on Tuesday morning. Prosecutors telling the judge today the killing was caught on video.
Video surveillance which shows Mr. Ofori not only shoot his wife, but then stand over her body and put additional rounds into her head.
Ofori is pastor of this church, Floodgates of Heaven on Coburn Avenue in Orlando. No one answered the door here today, but on his Facebook page, Ofori calls himself a prophet.
Started his work in ministry in the early 90s. One of the men alongside him was Pastor Anthony Longino.
While 22-year-old Marquez Hamilton was denied bond in the murder of Pastor Anthony Longino, 3 other suspects were arrested in the murder of a 19-year-old on Greenway Drive.
Crime scene tape now surrounds the home of Pastor Kim Pearson after he was shot and killed in Choctaw County Friday morning. A family member says his wife was also injured but is now in stable condition. Pearson served as pastor at the Mount Moriah Baptist Church for 14 years.
The young woman, Melissa Hill, 18 years old, has turned herself in. She turned her own self in. She's being charged with murder and attempted murder. Now, according to the local authorities, they said that this is an ongoing investigation and there are no further details at this time.
Woo! Shibba-ba-ba-ba, Hyundai, and a Subaru, a Scrappy, and a Scooby-Doo. Woo, Miss Melissa Hill. Pastor's gonna lay hands on Mount Hill like never before. It's gonna be a healing in the pulpit.
We are learning more about the pastor who was killed at his home in Lemon Grove. Police have arrested his wife in connection with his death.
Noah was more than just a husband and father to 2 young kids. According to social media posts, he was also a valuable part of the Reformed Presbyterian Church. Members of this faith community say even though he hasn't been the pastor at this church for long, he was an excellent leader who was well respected. According to Noah's Facebook page, him and his wife have been married since 2016.
A 32-year-old pastor has been paraded by the Rivers State Police Command for the alleged murder of some members of his church.
But search for the 3 female victims ended in the discovery of their decomposing corpses in 2 different locations. Further investigation by the police led to the arrest of Pastor Chidibere Okorafo, who is alleged to have murdered the members of his church in a desperate bid to cover up his romantic affair.
Local pastor murdered just a few miles away from his church in Decatur, and tonight a teenager is facing charges in his death.
The pastor's beloved church community is shattered by the tragedy.
CBS 46's Tori Cooper spoke to some of his friends. Tori, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. If you take a look behind me, you can still see pieces of Pastor Nick's car right here surrounding this tree along Sherwood Avenue. Police say he was shot multiple times in his car before they discovered his body here. Friends now telling us they're just asking for answers.
He was a father figure to a lot of people.
A man of God with a joyous and vivacious spirit.
He was always a jokey type of person. I used to call him the Papa Clown.
A trusted friend.
It's just who he was.
And a shoulder to lean on.
I was with him as a brother. I mean, there were things I shared with him that I know I couldn't share with nobody else.
But DeKalb police say Dr. Kevin, who was a beloved Decatur pastor and a founder of the Higher Dimensions Fellowship Church, crashed his car into this tree along Sherwood Avenue around 7 p.m. Friday night, just a few miles away from his church after someone shot him multiple times.
He that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto the Lord only, he shall be utterly destroyed, utterly destroyed, utterly destroyed.